guys, welcome back to Yee-Haw, a Bonanza podcast. I'm your host, Melissa, and today we are watching Season 1, Episode 26, I believe, The Avenger. Wow, it's been, a month? A little bit over a month? It is Tuesday, July 1st at the time of recording, and oh my gosh, I feel like it's been a year since I last recorded an episode. This has been, without a doubt, one of the craziest summers I think I've ever had in my entire life. But I did not anticipate how busy I was going to be this year. I started a new job in April, and it's been so amazing and wonderful, and my coworkers are amazing, and my boss is amazing. But my work schedule has picked up like crazy because we just have so much going on right now, and that is not within my control, and that's okay, but I've had to focus a lot there. Also, I have family here in town, and I've just been spending a lot of time with them. It's very rare. My brother's family from California are here for the summer, and that is just unprecedented. We have never had that happen. So I'm just trying to take them in as much as I possibly can. So the podcast has taken a bit of a backseat. So I'm going to try to get episodes out when I can. They're probably not going to be consistent until maybe the fall. But even then, I don't want to promise consistency because I just don't know what's going to be going on. So I'm happy to be here today recording, but it's just a busy season for me right now, and I'm a little unprepared for it, but it's okay. It's all good things, and I'm just so excited to be here today to record another Bonanza episode. Weirdly enough, like I said, today is Tuesday, July 1st. It is the 34th anniversary of Michael Landon's passing. So, thinking about Michael Landon today, thinking about his legacy, thinking about his role as Little Joe, and all of the other wonderful shows that he took a part of, such as Little House on the Prairie and Highway to Heaven. Michael Landon is one of my biggest creative inspirations, and his approach to storytelling and the types of stories that he told has always really resonated with me. I am a big sucker for both Highway to Heaven and Little House on the Prairie. And of course, one of my favorite roles of his is Little Joe. So thinking about him, praying for him today, praying for his family. So rest in peace, Michael Landon. Anyway, we're going to talk about episode 26, The Avenger. Let's find some episode details. I'm going to try to be very efficient with this episode today, guys. I am not in my usual recording space. So if you happen to hear other people talking in the background or a baby crying, it's because I am in a house with the rest of my family at the moment. So I was able to get away for a few minutes, but if you hear background noise, it's probably my family, in which case I will do my best to edit it out in post. Let's look at our episode details for The Avenger today. So this episode was written by Claire Huffaker, David Dortor, and Fred Hamilton. It was directed by Christian Nyby, and oh my goodness, do I have so much to say on the cinematography in this episode. I absolutely cannot wait. And this episode premiered March 19th, 1960. Some special guests and other actors that appeared. We have Vic Morrow as our special guest for today. And that might be a familiar name to some people, and it might not be to others. But all I will say is that I'm completely in love with his character in this story, and we'll talk about that too. This episode also featured Gene Allison, Richard Devon, James Anderson, Harry Swoger, Ian Wolfe, Nestor Pavia, Robert Griffin, Eugene Mazzola, Bill Ketching, Robert Brubaker, Bern Bassey, Bill Clark, and Mason Curry. That is the most interesting compilation of names. The episode description is: Ben and Adam are in jail, about to hang for a crime they didn't commit. Joe and Haas must find out why the witnesses have perjured themselves before the execution takes place. They receive help from an unexpected source, a drifter called Lassiter. So, some notable things / trivia on this episode. This week's guest star is Vic Morrow. A couple fun facts on Vic Morrow. He is primarily known for his role as Sergeant Saunders in the television series Combat, which aired from 1962 to 1967. This was apparently like his breakout role, or it was the thing that like really put him in Hollywood, I guess you could say. I've never seen Combat, and I've heard of it, and I think I've heard my dad mention it a few times, and I read the description, and now I kind of want to watch it. It's about soldiers exploring their humanity in, a world war. And my grandfather fought in World War II, and I've just kind of got like a soft spot for war-related movies / television series, so I'm kind of interested now. So I'm going to have to go check that out. My list is growing. Every time I see something that interests me, it's like, okay, well, that's going to be like 30 different television series down the list. But yeah, he's primarily known for combat. I didn't pull up his IMDb, which I need to do. My brain's a little flighty today because we've, like I said, have so much going on. So yes, he was in combat. So the four movies they listed, the four filmography things that he's done that they have on his IMDb are Combat, The Bad News Bears, 1990, The Bronx Warriors, and Twilight Zone, the movie, which unfortunately, Twilight Zone, the movie was the last thing that Vic Morrow filmed because he was killed on set filming that movie, which is a really horrific story, and I will not share the details because it's quite sad, but that was the last thing that he filmed before he died. But also on his IMDb page, they have, Fantasy Island, Magnum P.I., The Last Shark, Charlie's Angels, The Seekers, The Littlest Hobo, Paris, The Last Convertible, Stone, Greatest Heroes of the Bible, okay, Wild and Woolly, The Curse of the Black Widow, The Hostage Heart. So the list goes on and on and on, but breakout role was Combat. I did also watch this episode on the box set. Something very cool this week is they had a special episode watch feature where there was an option to watch the Avenger with the original NBC network logo, bumpers, and RCA promo. It was very cool because you could see where they put the commercial breaks in the episode. And then at the very end of the episode, they had this cute little promo of Lorne Greene promoting RCA with the rest of the Bonanza cast standing behind him, and it was filmed in black and white. So, you got to see the NBC logo at the beginning of the episode, the RCA ads, the Bonanza cast promoting the RCA ads, and then like the narrators coming over and being like, stay tuned and watch these exciting scenes from the next Bonanza episode. And then we had some photos of Vic Morrow as well promoting this episode. So let's check those out real quick. Yeah, these are these are fun promotional shots. It's like Vic Morrow is standing on a staircase and he's pointing a gun at the camera, which is fun. You got some great pictures of Michael Landon and Dan Blocker with Vic Morrow. You've got, I don't know the context for this picture. This is the one thing about the box set. I just wish they had descriptions of like who is in this picture. Next to the Bonanza cast, but there's one of Dan Blocker, and I don't know if he's like fake putting makeup on some guy's face or if that's a cigarette. It's confusing. I can't give context for these because the box set doesn't give context. There's also a really, really badass shot of Vic Morrow on a horse, and he's leaning back and he looks too cool for school. A couple nice color shots of Vic Morrow. And then we have one of Jean Allison as Sally. But that's what was on the box set this week. And you guys will actually find this interesting. On the trivia section on this episode's IMDb page, it says that The Avenger was filmed as a pilot for an NBC series to star Vic Morrow, but apparently it failed to sell to the network. Which, if you watch the episode through that context, I can understand why they would want to put like Vic Morrow at the head of maybe a new Western television series. I think he's very likable, very mysterious, very, I don't know if charismatic is the right word, but it's just so difficult not to like him. I think he would have been a good leading man for a new Western, but I can kind of understand why NBC rejected the concept. Because it's not really like his story. He's still a supporting character, and I don't think the episode gave him maybe enough lines to make him come off more like a leading man. Anyway, the point being is that they rejected it as a pilot for a new television series, but that could have been cool. I think Vic Morrow could have done that, and he could have done it really well. I really liked him in this episode. But we'll get to that. Pull up your copy of the episode and let's get started. We are hitting play in 3, 2, 1, go. can't remember what episode this guy was in, but he was definitely in an earlier episode of season 1. And now it's really bothering me that I can't pinpoint it. And then he didn't. Oh, wow. Good acting. Ben weighs 200 pounds, confirmed. Okay, I just need to make a correction here. Adam Cartwright is anything but wiry. What the heck? If anything, he's well built. He's structured and well built. He's not wiry. Maybe little Joe is wiry, but definitely not Adam. I mean, Pernell Roberts was jacked during this time. There's Vic Morrow. Very good opening to this episode. Like, sets the stage very well. How tense the situation is. Now, you guys be the judge. When we go back to Adam and Ben in the cell, you tell me if you guys think Adam is wiry. Not that it bothers me, but that's a really interesting description of Adam that just doesn't match. And given you're the sheriff of the week, we can't give much thought to you. Hansen's doing a really hard job, but he'll probably get fired like every other sheriff before him. Ben Cartwright, animal advocate. And that's why we love him. And here we have the classic Christian Nyby cinematography. Oh my goodness. In this episode, it is so good. I mean, all the episodes Christian Nyby has directed are good, but gosh, in this one, he keeps going back to that hanging stand and he showcases like the noose and the impending doom. And it's just, oh my gosh, it's so good. I just love Christian Nyby's direction. God, these bad guys are so frustrating, which makes the payoff at the end that much more worth it. Look at that shot. Like, it's just so artsy and intentional. And I just love it when you can tell that a director has put a lot of thought into the way that they compose their shots. Gosh, I am a fan of Christian Nyby's work. He also did another episode of his that stands out to me is Vendetta, which this episode actually kind of follows a very similar structure to Vendetta with some slight differences, but you know, a lot of the beats are similar. But I love Christian Nyby's direction in that one as well. And he's very good at building tension with his cinematography because I think he directed the episode The Sisters as well. And remember I talked about him using the camera to follow the bad guys' like hands and create that eerie, unsettling feeling of the murderer about to commit the crime. Anyway, Christian Nyby, I am a fan. Also, hi, Vic Morrow. Something I love about him in this episode is every space he walks into, he just, I don't know, like, he owns the space that he's in. He walks around, he kind of envelops the space. You see that when he comes into Sally's restaurant and then later in the saloon. When he enters the bar, he's just really good about using space as an actor. Also, it's interesting because they never reveal his name in this episode. All we know is that he's from Lassiter. And I think that's his name if you look at the cast on IMDb. And Joe's hot temper is on display in this one. Like, he loses it quite a few times where Haas has to, like, pull him back and be like, dude, you need to not. like right here. Something I do miss in the later episodes is I miss Haas being more of a big brother to Little Joe. Because I think I've mentioned this before. He gets roped into Joe's shenanigans easily, which I find funny and enjoyable, but I also really like Haas in the mentor role, the keeping him in line as the older brother. Also, another thing, there are a lot of shots in this episode like this where you see characters doing stuff and it takes like a minute or two before the scene finishes. And some people would call that unnecessary, but I actually really like it. I like seeing like characters get ready for something or have quiet moments without dialogue where you just kind of get to be with them. And when Hoss and Joe are preparing the guns, I think that's like a nice little moment, not only foreshadowing, what's to come in the final act, but also just like to be with them a little bit, to hang out. Also, I really have an appreciation for long shots. They do it here in this scene too with Lassiter. Which I'm just going to call him Lassiter because that's how he's listed on the cast and we never learn his name. But like even here, we just kind of see him exploring the space, exploring the fact that Sally has circled that particular date. I love these quiet moments of characters moving around in their environment, taking up the space, experiencing it. I have such an appreciation for long shots, especially because everything today is cut so quick to maintain attention spans. Also, I love how observant Lassiter's character is. He's not like a loud or a look at me character. He just kind of watches and observes and then takes action afterwards. That was really attractive. The way he just jumped to her defense, even if she is wrong, Joe was in the wrong for grabbing her, and I just loved how quickly he responded to that. Also, Hoss definitely should have led with the questions because it's easier to be sympathetic to Hoss than Joe. I mean, look at that face. You can't say no to him. Also, Lassiter's whole character is based around his empathy and understanding. Like, he just observes and he takes in, a lot like Adam. That's like my favorite thing about Adam, I'll keep telling you. And I really like how they keep re-emphasizing the hanging that's about to happen. It just keeps reminding you. It's very dark. But I like that throughout the episode. I think they do that, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think they do that in the episode Vendetta too, but with a clock. If you remember in that episode, they keep going back to the clock, like, the gang is coming, like, building that tension throughout the episode. And They do a similar thing here with the noose, which is very cool. It's a really, really great story tool. Also, I like this. People, I think, would call this scene maybe a bit unnecessary, but I really like it because it builds Lassiter's character. You know, it's like you can tell he just wants to see what this little kid is gonna do, so he keeps changing his movements, and then the kid keeps changing, which is really sweet. And so it kind of gives you better insight into what kind of man that Lassiter is. Because throughout this story, he's actually quite mysterious. We don't learn that much about him, and I think that this moment plays into that quite nicely. Also, repurposed Ponderosa set with the front door and where the shelf would be by the door. It's so funny the ways they keep reinventing it for other locations. God, Vic Morrow was so likable in this episode. I hate this fat guy. I can't remember what his character's name is. Um, but he is the worst. Like, he's just, I'm like, what are you, 5? Like, the scene he has coming up with the sweet little kid. I'm like, okay, now I just want to punch you. And the guy next to him made the funniest facial expression when he said that. Adam's whole attitude to this is great. Oh, how considerate. Thank you for being so thoughtful. I also feel that this episode is very well structured. Um, Much like, I keep going back to Vendetta, but much like Vendetta, I feel like it's structured very well. Like, you can really easily break it up into 3 acts. And nothing about it really feels rushed. I have like a minor quibble at the end, but for the most part, I think this episode moves and flows quite well. Again, like Vendetta, everybody hiding in their houses, nobody willing to help. Well, you're not going to be sheriff for long. Anyway, it's a very similar concept. Like these people in Virginia City are the most spineless, amoral human beings in any TV show that I've ever watched. And they've had plenty of times to redeem themselves. I really love this moment because then Haas makes a choice to deliberately disobey Ben, which you don't ordinarily see Haas do, especially up till this point in the series. But then he makes that active choice of like, yeah, we're going to get involved. I'm not going to let two innocent men die. More specifically, two innocent family members of mine die. I love that detail. And he's like polite and he apologizes even though he doesn't have to. I mean, I love this handsome, mysterious stranger. He's just so good. It's so refreshing. Like this, walks into the saloon, owns it. Look at that casual walk. Look at the swagger. Oh my goodness. Too cool. He is polite and badass, which is a wonderful combination. For real though, that hip swagger when he walked in, you can't teach that. God, I hate him. Also, I love this. Him twirling his drink and just, like, spaced out. And he's like, I hear you, but I'm not going to listen. Also, I'm going to kick your ass. This is the most irredeemable thing that this guy does. Like, he's like, what? 50 something? And he's bullying, like, this 10-year-old kid? How old are we? like, this is the thing. This scene, for me, I hate bullying in media. It really, really, really bothers me. Like, bullies do. And so to see this guy get his comeuppance in the end is satisfying to me, primarily for this scene. Also, he just hit both these dudes over the head with a gun. And he defended an innocent child. He continues to grow on me with every scene. He's just a decent dude, which is so refreshing to see decent characters being decent for the sake of decency. I love Lassiter, man. He's just the best. Because he defended a child that your one comrade was bullying? I love him. Or killed. Lassiter being the only good Samaritan in this town. I'll join the revolution. I'll join the revolution. Absolutely, he would. Disregarding Ben's orders. I kind of love it, though. He's like, I'm not going to stand by and not do anything. But it's actually, I just love it that much more coming from Haas, because Haas is very much the obedient kid. Like, Adam and Little Joe are way more likely to go against Ben, whereas Haas is a little bit more like, I'll be like the respectful kid. I'll do what you want, Pa. But then like here, he's like, no, we're just going to disregard it. And I kind of love that. It's nice to see Haas in that kind of leadership role. Like, I miss that a little bit more in later episodes. Intimidation tactic. I actually hated using those woodcutting boards. There's probably a better term for it than that. In college, because the blade would always be so dull and nobody would replace it. So I have a love-hate relationship with those cutting boards. Okay, so that scene gave me the impression that they burned something into his face, which I thought was going to be like, oh my gosh, that's so dark. That's so scary. And you get to the scene where Little Joe and Haas find him, and he's just, nothing's happened to him. He's just too frightened to speak, as Haas says. And I was kind of disappointed because I was like, okay, not that I'm advocating for like a super dark tone, but it would have been scarier, I think, had they killed him or if they had actually burned something into his face, because to me that would have made these guys, these Hawkins guys, out to be a bigger threat. But I was kind of disappointed when we got to the shop and like the newspaper guy is just sitting there with a frightened expression on his face. I was like, oh, that was kind of a missed opportunity to make the bad guys scarier. Another thing too, it would have been interesting if we could have seen Hawkins's men threatening Barney and his daughter. Like, I think that would have added a lot more to their intimidation and maybe would have helped us to sympathize with the people of Virginia City more if we saw how scary and intimidating the gang was trying to be instead of being told that they're scary and intimidating. Minor nitpick, very, very minor nitpick, but just a thought I had. Max, come on, bro. Also, I didn't mention this because I was talking over it, but when Haas says to Barney, I can see you better in the dark than in the daylight, it's a really good line of dialogue. Again, this is so similar to Vendetta. Like, the beats and the structure of this episode are so similar to that episode. Which I don't have a problem with. It's just you can draw a lot of parallels. Only this time it's not Haas just trying to get help. It's Little Joe's there with him too. Ah, I love you. I can't, I am falling in love with Lassiter. Gosh, every scene that he has, I'm just like, I didn't think I could like you anymore, but I do. Oh my goodness. Hold off to the last. Now, I wonder how the crew like messed this setup. Like if they did it like super delicately and intentionally, or if they were like, hey, let's just throw everything around and just make as much of a mess as we can. I always think about those things in a messy moment. Yes. Get them guns. Action time. But that's what I mean about that scene with the I can't remember his name, the newspaper guy. He's just kind of like sitting there stunned, and I think it would have hammered home the fact that this gang means business had they done something to him. And I'm not saying you have to get like really violent, but like show us that these men are scary. Like, don't just tell us and then have the town shirk away. Like, give us examples and like make us empathize with the town. Jay and Hoagie. Interesting names. This scene's a nice underrated moment in the episode. What they do to this this barn hand, or the guy who owns the barn. Also, I really like that shot of like their hats tilted downward as they load the guns. It's a nice aesthetic. How polite. How polite of him, Zeke. How polite of Zeke to not make a sound. This kid is so sweet. He's such a sweet kid. He's a good little actor too. And Lassiter being wholesome AF to this kid. My heart. I kind of love what he does here. Just guilt trips the hell out of her, and I have to love him for it. And he's relentless too, which is just fantastic. Nice little bit of information we get on Lassiter here near the end. Like, I do quite enjoy how they don't reveal too much about him, but just enough so you can kind of understand his character motivations and why he does what he does. But for the most part, they're still he's still very, very mysterious. Also, the lighting here in this scene, especially when Sally and Lassiter look out the window towards the hanging, is so nice. Like the red all over their faces. Actually, this whole layout I really like a lot. This shot right here, another lovely composition with Lassiter standing in the doorframe. And here with Hoss and Little Joe as well. It's really nice staging. And the camera rises as Ben and Adam ascend the steps. I said that the exact same time. This is Vic Morrow. It's just so nice. These shots are so nicely composed. No, if he's going to die an innocent man, everyone's going to have to look into their faces. That would be a fun shot to draw, like to do the lighting. That would be really nice. Ben's like, "Are you serious?" At the moment of truth. Ah! Oh my gosh. I love this scene. Oh, yes. Yes. So good. Hoss blasting that guy into the fire and then Joe following suit. Oh my gosh. Such a short-lived scene. So worth it. So worth it. The payoff in this episode is just so good. Joe, you rambunctious teenage boy, you. Not even teenage, is he? Is he 18? Yes, he's 18. So he's still a teenager. That was worth it. That scene was literally 20 seconds of shootings. 20 seconds. And it was so badass and so worth it. It is a little interesting how perfectly it worked out, like Lassiter's conflict with the guy who had his dad killed. Like the Hawkins guy just happened to be the guy that had Lassiter's dad killed. Is it a bit convenient? Sure. Do I mind that much? Not really. Something else I do really like about this as well is they could have easily created a romance between Lassiter and Sally, and they didn't. And I love that so much because creating a romance between them would have been extremely predictable and, in my opinion, like a little boring and typical of what we would expect of this story. But instead, Lassiter acts like her conscience. Like, he stands there, he's like, are you just going to let this happen? Or are you going to tell the truth? Like, I love that. They did something interesting and different, and I commend the episode for that. I like that shot too. Wow. Look at that artistic shot. What a good shot. Oh my God. No, come back, mysterious, attractive stranger. Oh my goodness. And the finality of the music here as they walk off into the distance. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Wow. The cinematography just popped off in this episode. And I love it. I love it so much. And Lassiter, just like, my gosh, how do you not like that character? Vic Morrow did such a great job creating that character and his likability and his mysterious aura. Like, wow. This one was so nice to revisit. Okay, so like let's just go through this real quick. What a nicely paced episode overall. I mentioned that the structure of this episode is very, very similar to Vendetta, like the pacing, the theme is a little bit the same. You got some classic Christian Nyby direction in there. It's very good. How do you not like Lassiter's character? I really like what they did with him. They made him kind and empathetic, but also like mysterious, and you don't really know that much about him other than the fact that like he went through a similar situation as the Cartwrights and like was able to sympathize with them in that way, but we don't get too much information on his character, and I love that. Vic Morrow did an excellent job portraying him. Excellent job making him very likable. He's probably one of the best guest stars of season 1. You know, his character was just good without needing a reason to be. Wonderful presence. 10 out of 10, Vic Morrow. Liked him so much. Jean Allison was very good in the supporting role as Sally Burns. You know, maybe her character fell a little bit more into like a stereotypical kind of role. Like I said, I just love that they didn't create a romance between Sally and Lassiter, because that would have been the very predictable thing to do. And instead you kind of have it like Lassiter being like the guardian angel character, like the guiding her conscious character. The Jiminy Cricket character is maybe what I mean to say. But wow, Vic Morrow, so likable. Obviously, so like my favorite moments in this episode, Christian Nyby's direction is so good. His thoughts always feel super intentional, very well composed, and like there's a lot of narrative thought put behind them. But one of my favorite shots is, I love the shot of the noose and then the horse walking across the reflection, the shadows of the horse and the noose in the sand. That camera shot was really, really nice. I also loved the fiery red shots reflecting off the characters at the end. Just like so much good stuff in this episode regarding the direction, and it's so easy to see why he was brought back time and time again. You know, I really enjoyed Hoss and Joe in this one. You know, their dynamic is really fun. I love seeing their pair up. As far as least favorite, there are very few things in this episode that I didn't like. I don't know if the ending totally resolved the conflict, like who actually killed Sally's dad. I think it's fair to say it was somebody from the Hawkins gang, simply because of the way the Hawkins gang was acting this entire episode. But it's not a huge deal. It's just, I don't know if they made that entirely clear. And the people of Virginia City just kind of suck. They have no backbone. They have no spine. They just cower and run away. And maybe the episode needed the audience to empathize with the townspeople more. But like, I had a hard time empathizing with the townspeople because to me, they just come off as cowards. Whereas I feel if this episode had shown us what makes the Hawkins gang so, so scary, that maybe I would have been able to more easily identify with them and their struggles. Such as like the guy working at the newspaper place. Like maybe they kill him. Maybe that adds the stakes to the episode. So that's like a minor complaint, but I do think had they changed that and like maybe showed us a few deaths as a result of what was going on with Ben and Adam, maybe that would have helped the audience to empathize with them a little bit more. while this episode is kind of similar to predecessors in the season, I don't mind that. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I think Vic Morrow is the highlight. And the payoff at the end, much like Vendetta, was so worth it. You get a 20-second shootout, but you feel really good after it because you're like, yes, I earned this. Wow, yeah, really appreciate this episode. This was very enjoyable, and it's probably on the better end of season 1 episodes. So guys, please let me know what you think of this episode. What do you think of Vic Morrow as Lassiter? Did you enjoy this story? What did you like? What did you not like? You can email me with any thoughts at yeehawbonanzapod@gmail.com, or you can drop a comment here on my YouTube channel. Also, if you haven't left me a review on Apple Podcasts, please consider going over there and doing that. Or if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, if you haven't written me a review yet, I would be so grateful and so appreciative because every little bit helps. So I guess I'll see you next time when we watch The Last Trophy. I don't know when that's going to be because, again, crazy schedule right now. But I'm so glad I got to sit down and film this one today. I hope you guys are doing well. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. And I'll see you in the next one. Have a great 4th of July, guys, and I will see you later.